buried in pockets, jars, and forgotten drawers. These old, dirty quarter dollars look worthless at first glance, but don't be fooled. Beneath the grime, and where could hide some of the rarest and most valuable coins ever minted. Scratched surfaces, faded dates, and decades of neglect may actually signal history, scarcity, and shocking value. Some of these quarters have sold for tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars, stunning collectors and everyday people alike. What if I told you that a dirty, worn 1990 quarter, one you've probably spent 100 times without thinking, has sold for thousands of dollars, and that another one just like it could be sitting in your house right now? I'm serious. In the next few minutes, you're going to see how an overlooked 1990 D quarter can turn into big money, and why this coin has become a piece of hidden treasure for collectors who know what to look for. The backstory of the 1990 D quarter starts quietly, and that's what makes it dangerous. BY 1990. Most people believed modern quarters were boring. No silver, no romance, just pocket change. But behind the scenes, the US Mint, especially the Denver Mint, was pushing production hard. Machines ran fast. Dies were down. Quality checks missed things. And when that happens, rare errors slip into circulation unnoticed. They don't shine. They don't look special. They look old, dirty, and ordinary. And that's exactly how life-changing value hides. Now let me reset your attention, because this is where the shock begins. The 1990 D Washington quarter is identified by the small D mint mark on the front, just below Washington's neck. Most are common, but some were struck with dramatic mint errors, and those coins have sold for hundreds to thousands of dollars at real auctions. One of the most hunted varieties is the off-center strike. These quarters were struck when the blank wasn't seated correctly. The result? A crooked design, missing letters, or a partially cut off date. To most people, it looks damaged. To collectors, it screams opportunity. A mild off-center 1990 D quarter can bring $300 to $600. Strong off-center examples with the full date visible have sold for $2,000 to over $4,000. And yes, many of them were found circulated and filthy. That's big money hiding in plain sight. Stay with me, because this next part catches even experienced collectors off guard. Another rare and valuable error is the broad strike. This happens when the coin is struck without the retaining collar, allowing it to spread outward. The rim looks wide and flat. The reeds may be weak or completely missing. The coin may feel larger than normal in your hand. Broad struck 1990 D quarters regularly sell for $500 to $2,500, depending on how dramatic the spread is. One especially strong example sold at a US error coin auction for nearly $3,000. That's not theory. That's real money. Now let me pull you back in again, because this is where things get truly mysterious. There are confirmed 1990 D quarters struck on the wrong planchet. That means the quarter design was accidentally struck on a blank mint for a different coin. These errors often look strange, too thin, too light, or the wrong color entirely. Some appear dull gray with no copper edge. Others feel wrong the moment you hold them. 1 Authenticated 1990 D quarter struck on an incorrect planchet sold for over $5,000 after professional grading. That's life-changing value for a coin that once lived in someone's pocket. Now slow down for just a moment, because identification is everything. A normal 1990 D quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams, have a visible copper stripe on the edge, show strong, even reeds, be well-centered, and evenly struck. If your coin feels unusually light or heavy, has no visible copper on the edge, has a smooth, flared, or distorted rim, shows missing letters or shifted design, stop. Don't clean it. You may be holding hidden treasure. Attention, reset, because this is where many people make a costly mistake. Dirt does not reduce value. Cleaning does. Some of the highest-priced 1990 D error quarters were dark, grimy, and heavily circulated. Collectors want originality. That old, dirty surface can actually protect the coin's authenticity. And your payday. Here's a true auction moment that still stuns people. A collector sorting loose change noticed a 1990 D quarter with weak reeds and a slightly oversized shape. It looked beat up. It felt odd. It turned out to be a broad strike error. After grading, it sold for over $200. That's turning pocket change into big money. And here's one more shocker before we finish. There are also struck-through grease errors from 1990. D. Heavy grease in the dies caused missing details. Flat hair on Washington, faded letters, weak eagle feathers. Depending on severity, these sell for $200 to $1,000, and many are still circulating because people think they're just worn out. That they're not worn. That they're rare. So let's bring this home. Check the date. 1990. Check the mint mark. D. Check the edge for copper. Check the rim for spreading or smoothness. Check the strike for misalignment or missing detail. That old, dirty quarter you've ignored for years. It could be big money.it, could be hidden treasure.it, could carry life-changing value. And in the next video, I'm revealing another everyday coin that shocked collectors with a massive auction result, and most people still think it's worthless. What if I told you that a dirty, beat-up 1998 quarter, one you might have kicked under the couch or tossed in a jar, has sold for thousands of dollars, and that another one just like it could be sitting in your house right now? I'm not exaggerating. In the next few minutes, you're going to see how an overlooked 1998 P quarter has quietly become big money, and why collectors are now calling it modern hidden treasure. The backstory of the 1998 P quarter is strange, quiet, and honestly a little eerie. It'd be why the late 1990s, almost everyone believed US quarters were boring. No silver, no romance, no surprises. But behind the scenes, the US Mint was under intense pressure. The state quarters program was about to explode in 1999, and in 1998 the Mint was running at full speed, pushing out millions of coins before the biggest coin program in US history began. Machines ran hot. Dies were down. Quality checks missed things. And that's when mistakes escaped. Mistakes that looked ordinary. Mistakes that circulated for years. Mistakes that today can mean life-changing value. Let me reset your attention right now, because this is where the shock begins. The 1998 P Washington quarter comes from the Philadelphia Mint and carries no mint mark. That's correct. If you see no letter under Washington's neck, that's exactly what you want. Most are common, but some are anything but point. One of the most valuable and most overlooked errors is the off-center strike. These coins were struck when the blank wasn't properly aligned. The design looks shifted. Letters may be missing. The rim may look uneven or incomplete. To the untrained eye, it looks damaged. To collectors, it's a red alert moment. Minor off-center 1998 P quarters sell for $300 to $600. Strong off-center examples with a full visible date have sold for $2,000 to over $4,000 at auction. Several of those coins were found old, dark, and filthy. That's big money hiding in plain sight. Now stay with me, because this next one catches people completely off guard. Another sought-after variety is the broad strike error. This happens when the collar fails during striking, allowing the coin to spread outward. The quarter becomes wider than normal. The rim looks flat or stretched. The reeds may be weak or missing entirely. Broad-struck 1998 P quarters regularly sell for $500 to $2,500, depending on how dramatic the spread is. One particularly extreme example stunned bidders by selling for just under $3,000 after professional grading. That's not hype. That's real collector demand. Let me pull you back in again, because now we enter dangerous territory. There are confirmed 1998 P quarters struck on the wrong planchet. That means the quarter design ended up on a blank intended for another coin. These errors are rare, but they exist. And when they surface, they cause chaos. These coins often feel wrong in your hand. Too light, too thin. Sometimes the color looks completely off. The copper edge may be missing. Many people assume they're damaged or faked. They're not. One authenticated 1998 quarter struck on an incorrect planchet sold for over $6,000 after certification. That is life-changing value from a coin that once bought a soda. Now pause for just a moment, because this is how you identify a potential winner. A normal 1998 P quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams, have a visible copper stripe on the edge, show strong. Even reeds appear well-centered and evenly struck. If your coin feels unusually light or heavy, has a silver-gray edge with no copper showing, has a smooth, flared, or distorted rim, shows missing letters or shifted design, stop everything. Do not clean it. You may be holding hidden treasure. Attention, reset, because this is where people lose money. Dirt does not destroy value. Cleaning does. Some of the highest-priced 1998 P error quarters were heavily circulated and darkened from years of use. Collectors want originality. That old, dirty look can actually protect authenticity and protect your payday. Now here's an auction story that still shocks people that a collector sorting loose change noticed a strange 1998 quarter that looked wider than normal. The rim felt flat. The reeds were weak. It looked ugly. After grading, it was confirmed as a broad strike error and sold for over $2 for 100.25 cents turned into big money. And here's one more twist before we finish. There are also struck-through grease errors from 1998. Heavy grease clogged the dies, causing missing details, flat hair on Washington, faded lettering, weak eagle feathers. Depending on severity, these errors sell for $200 to $1,200, and many still circulate because people think they're worn out. They're not worn, they're rare. So let's bring this home. Check the date. 1998. Check the mint mark. No mint mark. Check the edge for copper. Check the rim for spreading or smoothness. Check the strike for misalignment or missing detail. That old, dirty quarter sitting in your house right now? It could be big money. It could be hidden treasure. It could carry life-changing value. And in the next video, I'm revealing a quarter that stunned the entire hobby with a jaw-dropping auction result, and most people still think it's common pocket change. What if I told you that a filthy, beat-up 1982 quarter, the kind you wouldn't even bother to clean, could be worth thousands of dollars, and that some people have already turned one into big money almost overnight? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might be staring at hidden treasure in your own hands. The story of the 1982 quarter begins with a problem, a big one. In 1982, the U.S. Mint was under enormous pressure. Inflation was raging, production costs were exploding, and the mint was scrambling to keep coins flowing into circulation. Something unprecedented happened that year. No official mint sets were produced. That means collectors had no guaranteed way to get pristine examples, and when collectors can't get clean coins, errors slip through. Rare varieties escape, and circulation coins quietly become life-changing value. Let me reset your attention right here, because this is where the shock begins. The 1982 Washington quarter, made at the Philadelphia Mint, carries no mint mark, and that's exactly what you want to see. But among those coins are rare errors that collectors aggressively hunt today. Point one of the most important is the off-center strike. These coins were struck misaligned, leaving part of the design missing. If the date, 1982, is still visible, values jump fast. Mild off-center examples sell for $300 to $600, while dramatic examples have sold for $2,000 to over $4,000 at auction. And here's the twist. Many of these coins look damaged, crooked, or ugly. That's not damage. That's hidden treasure. Now let me pull you back in again. Another major variety is the broad-struck 1982 quarter. This happens when the collar fails during striking, allowing the coin to spread outward. The result? A coin with a wider diameter, weak or missing reeds, and a strange, flattened rim. Collectors love these. Verified broad strikes from 1982 routinely sell between $500 and $2,500, depending on how dramatic the spread is. One example offered at a major U.S. auction shocked bidders by hammering for over $3,000. That's big money for something most people would think is junk. Attention reset, because this one is wild. Some 1982 quarters were struck on wrong planchets. That means a quarter design ended up on a blank intended for another coin. These errors feel wrong in your hand. They weigh wrong. They sound wrong when dropped. And visually, they often look discolored or thin. One confirmed 1982 quarter struck on an incorrect planchet sold for more than $7,000 after grading. That is life-changing value hiding in plain sight. Now slow down for a moment, because identification is everything. A normal 1982 quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams, show a copper stripe on the edge, have strong, even reeds, display sharp lettering, and a centered strike if your coin is lighter or heavier. If the edge is silver gray with no copper visible, if the rim is smooth, flared, or uneven, stop. Don't clean it. You may have big money in your palm. Another attention reset. This is where people really mess up. Cleaning destroys value. Dirt does not. Some of the highest-priced 1982 error quarters were found dark, grimy, and heavily circulated. Collectors care about authenticity, not shine. That old, dirty look could actually protect the coin's originality and its price. Now here's an auction story that still makes collectors shake their heads that a dealer bought a small group of circulated quarters from a bank. One 1982 quarter felt strange, slightly oversized, with weak reeds. It turned out to be a broad strike error. After grading, it sold for over $2,800. The dealer paid 25 cents. But that's not luck. That's awareness. One more shocker before we wrap this up. There are also struck-through grease errors from 1982, where thick grease clogged the dies, causing missing details in Washington's hair, the date, or the eagle's feathers. Depending on severity, these can sell for $200 to $1,200, and many still circulate today. So let's recap what you need to check right now. Look for the date 1982 no mint mark. Philadelphia. Check the edge for missing copper. Inspect the rim for spreading or smoothness. Look for misalignment, missing details, or strange weight. Every single year, new examples are discovered. Every year, collectors realize they spent one without knowing. And every year, prices climb as fewer survive. That old, dirty 1982 quarter you've ignored for decades. It could be hidden treasure. It could be big money. It could be life-changing value. So before you dump that coin jar, before you spend another quarter, check your coins carefully. Because in the next video, I'm revealing a quarter that has stunned collectors with a record-breaking sale. And most people still think it's common. What if I told you that a dirty, scratched 1974 quarter, the kind most people wouldn't bend down to pick up, has sold for more than $10,000, and that some are still hiding in circulation right now? I'm serious. In the next few minutes, you're going to see why this ordinary-looking coin could be big money, and why ignoring it could be the most expensive mistake you ever make. The story of the 1974 quarter begins in a moment of chaos at the U.S. Mint. The early 1970s were turbulent. Oil crises, inflation, massive demand for coinage. The Mint was pushing coins out at full speed, and when speed replaces precision, something incredible happens. Mistakes slip through, and those mistakes become hidden treasure. The 1974 Washington quarter was struck in massive numbers at Philadelphia and Denver, with San Francisco producing proofs. Most people assume that means the coin is worthless. That assumption has cost collectors life-changing value, because some 1974 quarters are anything but ordinary. Let me reset your attention right now, because this is where things get shocking. In 1974, the Philadelphia Mint produced quarters with no mint mark. That's normal. But among those coins, a rare and dangerous variety slipped through. The 1974 double-die obverse quarter. Look closely at the date, 1974, the word liberty, and in God we trust. On genuine double-die examples, the doubling is bold and unmistakable. This is not machine doubling. This is a true mint error, and collectors go crazy for it. Authenticated examples have sold at major auctions for $5,000, $8,000, even over $15,000, depending on strength and condition. And here's the part nobody expects. Some of these coins were found dark, grimy, and worn. Dirt did not kill the value. Knowledge created it. Now let me pull you back in again, because the next error is even rarer. Some 1974 quarters were accidentally struck on the wrong metal planchet. That means a quarter design on a blank mint for a different coin, sometimes thinner, sometimes lighter, sometimes made of the wrong alloy altogether. These off-metal errors are dramatic. They feel wrong in your hand. They sound different when dropped. One confirmed 1974 quarter struck on a wrong planchet sold for over $12,000 at auction. That's big money for a coin someone could have spent on a vending machine. And yes, these coins often look strange, discolored, or damaged. That's your clue. Another attention reset, because this is where many people miss out. The rim of the coin matters. A normal 1974 quarter should have strong, even reeds around the edge and a visible copper stripe between the layers. But some rare examples show broad strikes, where the collar failed and the coin spread outward. These quarters have wider diameters, distorted rims, and sometimes smooth edges. Broad-struck 1974 quarters routinely sell for $600 to $2,500, with extreme examples climbing higher. Again, ugly does not mean worthless. Ugly can mean hidden treasure. Now let's talk about the San Francisco Mint. 1974. S-proof quarters were struck for collectors, but here's the twist. Some escaped with problems. Cameo contrast errors, struck through debris, and misaligned dies have all been documented. A high-grade 1974 S-proof with dramatic contrast or error features has sold for several $1,000s. One auction result that stunned collectors involved a 1974 S-proof quarter with heavy cameo contrast that realized over $3,000. Even with visible spotting, that let's slow down for just a moment and make sure you know how to identify a potential winner. Check the date. 1974. Check the mint mark. No mark means Philadelphia. D is Denver. S is San Francisco. Check the color. Odd gray tones, missing. Copper edges or unusual surfaces matter. Check the rim. Missing reeds, smooth edges, or flared shapes are red flags. In a good way. Check the lettering and numbers. True doubling is thick, rounded, and clear. And here's another shocker. Off-center strikes from 1974 exist, where part of the design is missing or shifted. Depending on how dramatic the error is and whether the date is visible, these can sell from $400 to over $3,000. Some of the most valuable examples look like damaged junk to the untrained eye. Let me tell you a quick real-world story. A collector bought a small bag of circulated quarters from an estate sale. Inside was a filthy 1974 quarter that felt lighter than normal. It turned out to be an off-metal error. Final price after grading and auction? More than $9,000. That is life-changing value hiding in pocket change. And this is why the 1974 quarter is so dangerous. It blends in. It doesn't scream rare. It whispers. Every year, collectors discover new examples. Every year, people realize they spent one without knowing. And every year, prices climb as fewer remain unrecognized. So before you ignore that old, dirty quarter, before you dump that jar into a machine, take a closer look, because the next piece of big money could already be in your hands. And in the next video, I'm revealing a different quarter that has shocked the hobby with a record-breaking sale, and most people still think it's common. What if I told you that the old, dirty quarter sitting in a jar right now could be worth more than a brand new car, or even change your life overnight? I'm not kidding. In the next few minutes, you're going to see how a 1968 quarter dollar, the kind most people spend without a second thought, has sold for big money, and why collectors are desperately hunting for one specific version hiding in plain sight. Here's the crazy part. The more old, worn, and dirty it looks, the more dangerous it might be to ignore. Back in 1968, America was changing fast. Silver had just been removed from quarters a few years earlier, inflation was rising, and the U.S. Mint was rushing coins into circulation. Quality control slipped. Mistakes happened. And those mistakes quietly became hidden treasure. Most people think 1968 quarters are common. Millions were made. And that's exactly why collectors missed some of the rarest examples for decades. These coins blended in. They circulated. They got scratched, grimy, and overlooked, until sharp-eyed collectors started finding shocking errors worth hundreds, thousands, and even life-changing value. Let's start with the first shocker. In 1968, the Philadelphia Mint did something unusual. They stopped using mint marks altogether. So if you're holding a 1968 quarter with no mint mark under Washington's neck, don't dismiss it. That's exactly how it's supposed to look. But here's where it gets interesting. Some of these no mint mark quarters were struck with serious errors. One of the most valuable is the 1968 double die obverse quarter. This is where Washington's date, the word liberty, or in God we trust, appears doubled, sometimes clearly, sometimes subtly. Collectors have paid $1,500 to over $6,000 for strong examples. And yes, several of those coins looked old, dull, and dirty when they were found. Now let me reset your attention, because this next part shocks even veteran collectors. In 1968, the San Francisco Mint produced special mint set quarters, not normal proofs. These coins have a unique look, sharp strikes, satin-like surfaces, and squared rims. They're often mistaken for regular circulation coins once they get dirty. But a high-grade 1968 S special mint set quarter has sold for over $8,000 at auction. That's big money for a coin most people would toss into a Coinstar machine. But we're not done. One of the rarest and most dramatic finds is the 1968 quarter struck on the wrong planchet. Imagine a quarter accidentally struck on a dime-sized blank, or even a silver planchet left over from earlier years. These errors exist, and they are explosive in value. Verified examples have sold from $10,000 to over $35,000, depending on condition and metal. And here's the kicker. These error coins often look wrong, not shiny. The color may look off. The weight may feel lighter or heavier. The rim might be incomplete. That's your clue. Now check this closely. A normal 1968 quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams, have a copper-colored edge sandwiched between silver-colored layers, and show strong reeds on the rim. If your coin looks gray all over, unusually thin, or has weak or missing reeds, stop everything. You may be holding hidden treasure. Another shocking error collectors hunt is the off-center strike. Parts of the design are missing, the date may be partially cut off, or the coin looks misaligned. These can sell for $500 to $3,000, and extreme examples go even higher. And yes, dirty coins qualify. Dirt does not kill value. Cleaning does. Now here's the auction story that makes people's stomach drop. A collector bought a roll of old quarters for face value. Inside was a grimy 1968 quarter that looked damaged. It turned out to be a 1968 double die error, authenticated and graded. Final auction price. Over $4,200. That's life-changing value for something someone almost spent on coffee. One more attention reset. Because this part is wild. There are also 1968 quarter broad strikes, where the coin was struck without a collar, causing it to spread out with a smooth, oversized rim. These errors can sell for $800 to $2,500, and again, they don't look pretty. They look strange. So how do you identify a potential winner right now? Check the date. 1968. Check the mint mark. None means Philadelphia. D means Denver. S means San Francisco. Check the color. Full silver gray or unusual tones matter. Check the rim. Missing reeds, uneven thickness, or smooth edges are red flags. In a good way. Check the lettering and date. Doubling, distortion, or misalignment equals big money potential. That old, dirty quarter in your drawer isn't junk. It could be hidden treasure. It could be the difference between spare change and a life-changing value. So before you spend another coin, before you dump that jar, check your 1968 quarters carefully.